Six Flags Great Adventure is getting a brand new Vekoma Super Boomerang coaster for the 2020-24 theme park season. This is going to be a fantastic new addition to the park. It is a clone coaster, but I can see this being a fantastic addition to the park. And more importantly, is this a larger relationship between the new age Vekoma coasters and the Six Flags chain? Stick around to find out. If you do enjoy today's video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Now, we've recently seen a video that is documenting every new addition to the Six Flags theme park chain for the 2024 season, and we have seen that Six Flags Great Adventure, one of the standout, more well-known and bigger parks within the chain, is getting a brand new coaster for its 50th anniversary season in 2024. Now, this is going to be called the Flash Vertical Velocity, and this is what we're going to call a Vekoma Super Boomerang coaster. There is currently one of these. This is called Cloud Shuttle, and it's currently operating at Wild Wonderland over in China. And this opened in the 2023 season. So even though it's a clone, it's still a very unique coaster. There's only one other model of these currently operating, and that is at a park in China. So to the audience in the US, even in somewhere like Europe, not many people have gone out to China, to Wild Wonderland, and have ridden this thing. So this is a fantastically unique coaster for this side of the world, and a really great addition. So what are some stats about this new Flash Vertical Velocity coaster? It has a track length of 1,430 feet, has a top height of 164 feet, a speed of 59 miles per hour top speed, and a G-force highest rating of 4. Now, this can seat a total of 24 riders as well. However, it is unfortunately only one train because it is obviously a Boomerang shuttle coaster. Now, let's go through the pros and cons of a coaster like this. A pro, like I say, first of all, this is going to have a great sort of uniqueness to it. Not many people are going to have seen a coaster like this, especially to the GP. You know, when you look at this thing, it is a very eye-catching, unique-looking coaster, having those two vertical spikes in the middle of the ride. And I think this was going to look, like I say, I think this is going to have a very large popularity, especially amongst the GP. Us enthusiasts are going to love it. This is a new modern Vekoma. So another pro is the fact that we're seeing a new wave Vekoma coaster come to the US again. We're seeing more and more of these now. You know, we've seen Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. We've seen the recent announcements of Good Gravy coming to Holiday World. Snoopy's Slopebox Racers coming to Kings Island. So to see another new wave Vekoma thrill coaster come to the US is fantastic, because in terms of thrill coasters, the only sort of thrill coaster we've seen would be Circuit Breaker at Coachland. So to see another new Vekoma thrill coaster coming to the USA is fantastic. And staying on that topic, could this be the beginning of a partnership between Vekoma and Six Flags? You know, Six Flags, the chain is full of older Vekoma coasters, you know, the bad old Boomerangs and the SLCs, but these new wave Vekoma coasters that have been popping up throughout Europe and Asia, these are really great, and some of the ones that have turned up in the US already, such as Big Bear Mountain, are great. And you know, people have been wanting for a while these new Vekoma coasters to be making their way over to the United States, and now that we've seen the Flash Vertical Velocity come to Six Flags Great Adventure, could this be the beginning of a new partnership between the manufacturer and the theme park chain? Could we start to see new Vekoma coasters pop up at other parks throughout the chain? I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of different coasters in their portfolio, Vekoma. They have one of the widest coaster portfolios. They offer a multitude of junior coasters, you know, inverted coasters, flying coasters, and extreme thrill coasters, and things like the tilt coaster. I can see that being, you know, a bit like the B&M dive coaster. It's a very gimmicky coaster, and I think the GP will love something like that. So, you know, Six Flags do like their gimmicks. We've always said that this is a bit of a gimmicky coaster itself. It looks very eye-catching, very appealing to the GP, and I think that's what Six Flags want. They want things which seem eye-catching to the GP, get the crowds in, get the money in. So this could be the beginning of a fantastic relationship between Vekoma and Six Flags, and we could potentially be seeing a few new of these coasters coming to the chain. I think the colour scheme, from what we can see in the footage so far, obviously it's only concept art, so we can't be sure, but that sort of red supports and structure, and the yellow track looks fantastic, and I think that will look fantastic. This is going to be located right near the front of the park, so it's going to be sort of an entryway coaster as you enter to the park. I believe it's going to be off to the left when you enter, and I think that's going to look really fantastic, having something this new, this eye-catching right by the front of the park. It's going to be a sort of statement entryway coaster, and I think this is going to be a really great new addition to the park. In terms of some downsides, I think, obviously, as I've said before, this is a Boomerang coaster, and this could potentially be, you know, one of the, if not the longest queued for coaster at the park in terms of overall queue time. You know, this doesn't have the shortest layout in the world. You know, it has nearly 1,500 feet of track, and it's got to traverse that layout twice. and you know, there's going to be forwards launches, backwards launches. When it comes back to the station, it's going to sort of go through the station a little bit before actually coming to a stop in the station overall. So are we going to see, you know, with this being quite a long ride time, only being one train on a boomerang coaster, is this going to have the potential where queues are going to absolutely skyrocket for this ride, especially when it first opens? Are we going to see some absolutely insane queues? Because Great Adventure is one of the bigger parks at the chain. They have some fantastic coasters there with very good output, you know, like Nitro has some great output, Jersey Devil's pretty good, El Toro when it's open is very good, King Dakar less so, but you know, some of the other B&M coasters they've got there, they do have some great output. So you know, this shows you the kind of coaster that they need at the park. And is a boomerang coaster really the best addition in terms of adding to the throughput of the park? I'm not so sure. However, you know, when you weigh that up against the other pros and cons, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like I say, I think this is an absolutely fantastic layout, 60 miles per hour top speed, 180-degree twisted drop in the zero G rolls. Some of these elements will be absolutely insane and crazy, and you know, if you've ridden some of the new Vekoma coasters, including something like Let Coaster or Phoenix, I think this will be a real mix between the two. I think there's going to be some very intense elements on there, sort of like that twisted drop and the zero G roll. They do look, if you watch the POV from Cloud Shuttle over in China, when you watch the POV, they do look like some very intense elements, and I can see, you know, we're getting some of the good sides of the new Vekoma. However, as well, some of the airtime I think is going to be fantastic. You know, sort of when you're going up that backward spike towards the end of the layout, and then you sort of, I think it goes back down to almost like a double down sort of thing. That's going to be some crazy airtime. If you're in the front row there, you know, you've just got right to the top of that spike, and then as you're coming back down, you go, you're the last car to go down that double down. I think you're going to get absolutely whipped down there. So fantastic, you know, a new Vekoma thrill coaster coming to the United States, coming to the Six Flags chain. Can't really see too many problems with this, if I'm honest, you know. I think it's going to look fantastic. I think it's going to be the beginning of a good relationship between the manufacturer and the chain. I think it's going to be a nice area for the park. I think it's good that the park is getting a coaster for its 50th anniversary. Yes, there was teasers of a Giga Coaster, or not teasers, but, you know, speculation around Giga Coaster. But from what we've heard, those plans haven't been cancelled, they've just been pushed back. So, you know, considering how rough the past few years have been for the chain, with Salim Basoul at the head of the chain, I think, you know, it's great that we're finally seeing some new coaster additions to the parks, and I think this will be a fantastic new addition. My one concern, like I say, simply would be the capacity. I've just looked up the capacity during this video, and it has an average capacity of 800 riders per hour, but that's obviously, you know, when we're maximising capacity, you know, that doesn't take into account, you know, there might be some disabled guests that are riding this, or some other things which might slow down capacity, like mechanical faults. So, you know, I'm expecting to see that even lower. So, you know, having maybe a 700 riders per hour capacity, that isn't great, especially for a park as busy as Great Adventure. But that, for me, is really my only concern with this coaster. I think it's going to be a fantastic new addition for the park, the beginning of a great relationship between Vekoma and Six Flags, and I cannot wait for this to open. But what are your thoughts? Do you think this is a good addition for the park, or do you think they should have gone with a new coaster, something completely different? I'd love to hear down below. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Please do give it a like if you enjoyed. It massively helps out the channel, and subscribe for more. Thanks you very much again for watching.